Welcome to the last notable approval of 2020. My name is Amanda Shaffer. I'm an attorney at the Shapiro law firm. Before I get to our case, first I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and to remind you that to like us, follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter so that you don't miss any of our other lives. Today's case, let me find it, is about a client, U.S. citizen from Guyana, and she filed an I-130 marriage petition for her husband, who is from Pakistan. And the reason I want to talk about this case is because I often get questions from clients or prospective clients about, well, is it going to work if I live in the U.S. and my spouse lives abroad and we've never lived together? Is it going to work, a marriage petition? And the answer is, if it's a real relationship, it should work. There is a lower threshold of evidence required when you and your spouse have never lived together and your spouse is abroad, because of the mere fact that it's impossible for you to have a lot of the evidence. But that doesn't mean that later on you're not going to need to really be sure you have that joint financials, but that's not as important right now in the beginning. What's important right now is, like I said, that it's a real relationship. And there are plenty of relationships. Well, I don't know if you saw my Facebook Live that I did with Attorney Richards, where we talked about marriage and how there's no one size fits all marriage. There's no mold to fit into. Everybody's different. And this is another really good example. This client, they had only met her husband in person twice before she married him, and had never lived together. And this is a big and, she was 20 years older than he is. So I get a lot of questions about age difference too. Like, is that going to be a problem that there's this big age difference? And again, the initial answer that I have for everybody is it's not a problem if it's a real relationship. That's my general answer. Second, I say, well, we still can get other types of evidence. So we could still show that it's a real relationship. There's still stuff here that we can explain to immigration. And of course, if you know that if you've been married less than 2 years at the time of your interview, of your green card interview or your visa interview abroad, then you're going to only get a 2-year green card or a conditional green card. So you're going to have to obtain that joint marriage evidence regardless. And that is also why in those situations, a little bit less evidence is sometimes excused, because the relationship's new, you haven't really lived together yet, and you haven't had a chance to build up that pile of evidence and that chance to start your life together. So in this case, I was really happy that we didn't even get a request for evidence, which you kind of expect in a case like this, because we didn't have joint finances. There were no joint taxes, no joint bank account, no health insurance, car insurance, life insurance, nothing. But what we did have was we had 2 letters, one from the beneficiary's mom, one from the beneficiary's brother, talking about how happy they were that they got married. We had this client, the petitioner, actually converted to Islam. So we put in for her husband. So we put in a copy of her certificate confirming that she converted. And honestly, I believe that was really powerful evidence in this case, because it's a really big step for you to change religions, regardless who you are, what religion it is. If you're changing a religion for your spouse, it does say a lot about the relationship. And then we put in evidence of her trips abroad to go see him. So we put in her plane tickets, her passport stamps, if she had a rental car, what's called flight information. Yeah, tickets or flight information, hotel information. If they went to a show, we put in a copy. We also put in the same exhibit pictures from that trip and explain when pictures were taken, where they were taken, what they were doing. So we put in all that, and of course we put in lots of wedding pictures because this was a Pakistani wedding. It was a humongous wedding. The entire family was there. So obviously they're not just trying to do a hush hush green card wedding over there in Pakistan. It was definitely the real deal. The only reason this client is not in the US yet is thanks to COVID. The NBC process has really been held up. So I know that we're just waiting at this point for him to go to his visa interview. And we don't anticipate any problems, but of course, our client is very anxious to have her husband over here, especially in light of the fact that with COVID, there's kind of this, unknown, indefinite suspension of services that have been going on. And I'm not sure if in Lahore, Pakistan, if they've reopened fully yet. Each embassy and consulate is a little different. So here, number one, as I say time and time again, there is no one mold that you have to fit in to show that you have a real marriage or for your marriage to be considered real. Everybody's different. Everyone's circumstances are different. I've had clients 30 years apart that got married, and there was nothing questionable about it. And in addition, there's the requirements about living together before you got married or before you file for the green card, or the person's ever been to the US. We can work with all of that. That's okay. Sometimes I have people in a position where I've had this conversation with one client recently. She wanted to get married to her spouse. Her spouse is in China. They're both female, so they can't get married in China. And my client's waiting for her citizenship. She can't do a fiance visa until she gets her citizenship, because only US citizens can. So she keeps asking me, can we just get married and do the I-130 now? And I told her, I'm like, yes, you can, but you are going to run into the problem of not having enough joint marriage evidence. And in her case, they can wait. So it might be a better idea, but will it get denied because they don't have all that evidence? No, that's not why. We have to do our best with the evidence that we have. So no matter what your situation is, we're very good at getting these approved. All we need is that you have a real marriage, and we can help you take care of the rest. So if you or anyone you know has a marriage-based green card case that you're filing for, or any other immigration matter, the contact information has been scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Do not hesitate to reach out. Our office will be closed Friday for New Year's Day. Otherwise, we're around. We're here for you. I want to thank you all for watching this year. This is 2020. I think we're all pretty excited for it to just leave and be done with. It's been a tough year. I started doing these lives back in April, maybe. And for me, the lives have been a real help with keeping my business afloat. And I want to thank everyone for watching and commenting and liking. Really appreciate it. I do hope that everyone watching out there finds these lives useful in all of our videos, because the reason we do them in the first place is we want to explain who we are, what we do, why we love what we do, and also give a little insight to the immigration law, kind of stem the tide of misinformation that's out there. So I really, really hope, and on behalf of Aaron as well, and Goldie, our therapy dog, we wish everybody Happy New Year. Don't forget to like us and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn, so that you don't miss any 2021 notable approvals or any other live Q&As or lives that we will be doing. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night.